If you drink one of them, like drinking 4 too. Makes some kids would die. That's a good-looking uniform. Yeah, we're good. I like it. Cool. Okay, we're going to, resume our driver press conferences this afternoon. Carl Edwards, he drives the number 99 Subway Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. He's currently 6th in points. And Carl, talk about your outlook and how practice went driving the 99 Ford so far today.
Yeah, we've got the Subway Ford this week, and the car ran pretty well. We've got a vibration that we're working on. Trying to figure that out. It's not as bad as it's been, but we're working on that. I noticed when I sat down here, this stand right in front of me says vibration reduction stand.
That reminded you of that?
That was pretty humorous. Yeah.
There you go.
Take that with me when I leave. But that's what we've been working on. And but a fun day for me today. We get to practice a couple of practices, and then I'm going to go over to a Subway. Where's that Subway at? Where is it?
Pell City, south of here.
Okay, so I'm going to Pell City, and we're going to sign some autographs. I've never been to Pell City, so we'll go over there and maybe get some lunch and meet some people at the Subway, and then come back and do Trackside Live tonight. And then we haven't tried any qualifying trim yet, so I don't know what to really expect for tomorrow for qualifying, but we'll do that tomorrow. And then, for me, this race is an opportunity for us to cut into our points deficit that we have. You guys, most of you know my love-hate relationship with this place, and right now I'm really looking forward to it, just because it could shake things up and it could work out in our favor. So we'll just go run.
Questions for Carl? We'll start over here with Mike and then go to Tom. Mike and then Claire.
Mike Mullen.net. What do you think about the idea of each lap here paying a point? So if you lead a lap, you get another point.
Man, that's Are you trying to make it more dramatic or more? What are you trying? I guess that'd be pretty interesting, but I'd have to think that through. No, you couldn't stand. But you can already wreck up there in the front, and I think if you were paying points for leading, it'd probably be a series of wrecks. So guys leading, and you still might be better off to sit in the back and wait it out. So. Just comes down to how much risk guys are taking. If you have more risk, it might even be riskier at that point to run up front. You know what I mean? But that's a good question.
Claire Belang, Sirius NASCAR Radio. 2 questions. The first is, I heard there was a vibration for all the Roush cars. Is it a Roush-wide vibration issue?
I just was speaking with someone on the way in. They said that too. I didn't realize that Matt was having trouble. I knew Greg was, but it seems like something we're all fighting, and it's such a difficult thing. They always give me a hard time in the meetings because I'm always screaming about how my car is vibrating, and it makes you just want to give up because you're like that. You're like that guy on TV that swears he saw a UFO. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, because they can't duplicate it in the shop. They can't duplicate it on the chassis dyno. So it's one of those things you chase around. But in the race car, it feels like it robs horsepower and robs speed. So it's important to me. But I'm the only one who knows that it's going on, and so in a way, I'm glad that all of our cars are doing the same thing, at least, so that we can maybe work on it.
And can you also talk about, at its highest intensity level, what your mind goes through here, like sort of put us behind the wheel, when it's really up on it here at Talladega? What's in your mind, and what are you thinking?
You're thinking a lot of things, but here the tough part is to understand exactly where your car is. And that's what you normally work on. You're at a racetrack and you're worrying about your car and the way you're positioning yourself on the racetrack. But as important here, you gotta have your peripheral vision working and watching the mirrors, listening to your spotter, understanding where everybody else is going and how much momentum they have, and then you have to also be able to kind of at the same time think about all of their possible intentions or what they are trying to do. And if you can kind of keep all that going in your head, you can pick the right spot to move, and that's what makes it intense. Is that these little bitty split-second decisions can dictate whether you go backwards or forwards, and it all comes down to that last lap. You got to make sure you pick the right one.
And are you stressed until it's done?
I don't stress about it. I just try to really focus, and I've watched enough of these things and I've been involved in enough of them to realize that if you just do the best you can, and at the end, one guy is going to be in front when you cross that finish line. And if you could separate yourself, like Brad and I did a couple years ago, if you can separate yourselves from the group at the end, you're obviously doing yourself a huge favor because then you're only dealing with one guy. And so that would probably be the goal, and I think that's what you'll see. I think you'll see breakout groups at the very end of the race, guys that just commit to pushing another guy, and then everybody's getting really good at that. So it could be pretty interesting.
Let's go with over here to Bruce has got the mic. Well, let's get Bruce and then Tom right here. Right here. Raise your hand, Tom.
Bruce Martin, SI.com. What is it about Martinsville and teammates kind of getting into it? A couple of years ago, you had your celebrated incident. Last week, it was, Harvick and Burton. What is it about that track that kind of brings out this hostility between teammates?
I don't know. I think that's just coincidence. You know what I mean? Usually you leave there mad at somebody, and everybody has enough teammates now that it's going to be times when you're really mad at your teammate. But that's just racing, But you gotta do the best you can to work with your teammates. I think that's really important. I've learned that lesson over time. Obviously I haven't always worked the best with my teammates, but or we haven't gotten along the best. But I feel like that's one of the strongest things we have on our team right now. Is I'm there to help Matt and Greg and David, and I feel like they're doing the same with me. So I'm just glad we're not having trouble, and those guys can go do whatever they're doing. And they keep doing it. Yeah. We in our team we're not having at it. We're doing okay.
Let's go with Tom and then Rusty.
Hi, Carl. Tom Jensen, Speed.com. 2 questions. The first one, a quick one. With this being an impound race, how much difference is there between qualifying setup and race setup anymore? And number 2, it seems like there's an obvious speed difference with 2 guys together being faster than 3 guys together or 4 guys together or one, any other combination. So is it going to be 2 guys who decide it, and how do you pick?
Yeah. We're not going to go into qualifying trim, I don't believe, or even make a run by ourselves, I guess you would say. So we'll just get the car the best we can to run the race, and then we'll go run our laps tomorrow. As far as the way that the cars work together, the deal is if you can push someone's bumper, your car gets in a little void of low pressure behind their car, and man, you can just lay into it, and you guys see what happens. But I think it's too difficult to do that with 3 cars because the guy in the middle get choked up and wrecked. So it's hard enough to do with 2. And I think you're right. I think that, like we talked about earlier, that it'll be 2 cars breaking away. And if you look at the last laps of the last couple of these races, it's been 2 cars breaking away. 2 cars over here, 2 cars over here, kind of separated themselves. And if there's a couple groups of those 2 car things going on the last lap, it could be a pretty amazing race. But everybody realizes that's the deal now. So that's what everybody's going to be looking for. I think they're going to be looking for somebody's bumper to push on hard for the last lap.